Ron Siegel Radio, your home and mortgage connection.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries as we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media. This is the show that connects the dots of confusion delivered by conflicting media reports. We connect the dots so you know the actions you can take, how your family or business can benefit in current events. Most of all, thank you for joining me. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day. We have a very focused show. We only chat about items that affect the roof of your head, your bank account, and anything I feel would benefit you. And let me remind you, if you ever have any more finance-related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you. And you can reach out to me directly, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com. Just remember, that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are operators standing by.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
While I do have a great team when it comes to developing a financing plan or plan to save you money, I personally work with you, even if you don't have any needs today. Save this number in your phone for future reference, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And yes, we are celebrating today. We celebrate every day on Ron Siegel Radio. Okay, we got a good one, and one that does not excite me at all. So, I'm not a mango guy. Today's National Mango Day. I'm not a big mango person. Josh, you a mango guy? You like mangoes? Okay. I don't know. I'm just one of the few fruits that I'm not a big fan of. I like most of them, but on the other hand, now this is one I can get up behind because I have beaten anorexia. National Penucci Day. Penucci Fudge Day. Got to get that right. Penucci Fudge Day. And I had to look it up because I saw fudge and I said, how could it go wrong with fudge? And then I saw, what the heck does Penucci mean? I had to even look up, how do you pronounce Penucci? Because it is a distinct style of fudge, deep caramelized, maple-like flavor, brown sugar fudge, an ultimate treat. Yeah, that one, look at that picture that Josh has there. That picture, that looks good. Mango in the drinks, okay. Okay, I'll have to try that. What do you put mango in though? What? I guess there's certain cocktails I see. Mango beer. Okay, I'm not much of a beer guy, but I do know that. Heck, Anaheim has. I don't know, more. I think there's more breweries in Anaheim than there are wineries in Paso Robles. It's crazy how many breweries we have in Anaheim, and some are good, some are not. I'm not a big beer guy. Actually, something. Since I've been on these shots, I don't drink a whole lot of anything. My wine fridges are full. I still like going to Paso Robles. I buy the wine, and then it just kind of sits there. And, kind of like me, fine wine ages over time. So I don't know if I'm getting any better with time. That's the question. There's a lot of people that'll question that one. So, it is, as we say in the old school.
It is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is. Let's take a look and see what's going on in the markets today. Dow Jones Industrial Average is up 189 points. We like that. Yeah, but then again, we've got the NASDAQ down 6. The S&P 500 is up 14.63. Oil up $1.62 a barrel. That's kind of an interesting one, up $1.62. We know why that's going on. And gold up $81 an ounce. We are watching. That's what they call the the flight to safety. You see when you see things that are going on around the world that are troublesome, as we see in the Middle East, you start seeing the people buying the 10-year treasury. More buying brings the price down, yield up. So we are seeing that one. 4.65 right now is the yield on the 10-year treasury. And we're seeing gold price up $81 an ounce, $41.58 an ounce on gold. So that is the norm when we see these things happening. And we're watching, obviously we've got oil up $1.63 a barrel. 406 is the national average for a gallon of gasoline. 406 a gallon. But we're in California, $5.55 a gallon, up 4 cents just since yesterday. So welcome to California. But we are watching all of these different numbers for you. And the other one I'm watching right here, and again, it's a strategic number, is the spread between the 10-year treasury and the 30-year fixed rate loan. So the 10-year treasury right now, 4.65, and the 30-year, according to Mortgage News Daily, 6.75. 2.1 is the spread. Historically, that's 1.79. So we're about 30 basis points above the historic norms. So it looks like some of the lenders are pricing in a little premium right there. You would hope that they wouldn't be doing that kind of stuff, but they are doing it. We see it. We watch it. As your consumer advocate, I tell you about it. Also just saw a new loan product out there for those folks that need a little quick cash. There's a couple of them that we've been talking about. There is a very, very quick and easy version of a home equity line of credit for our business owners or people that deposit good amounts of money, but don't necessarily show it all. And now there's also another equity share program that's out and available. And it has, the nice thing about the equity share is it has a cap. So if you're going to be holding this short term, the cap is actually a rate that kicks in and you pay whatever's lower, the equity share or the rate. You get the lower of the two. So we're watching that for you as well. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. Got a great broadcast lined up for you today. Foreclosures down 83% from 2008. The crash you're waiting for is not coming. Priced out, a condo or townhome could be your way in. 59% of America is broke by Friday. Here's the plan that ends it. And most families tour colleges wrong and pay for it later. Here's how to do it right. All that and more. Reach me anytime. Off-air number 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990 or RonSiegelRadio.com. Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Are you a veteran, own a home, and need money? The Siegel Lending Team is here to help veterans refinance and get the money they need. The VA 100 lets you borrow up to 100% of your home's value, refinance your mortgages, consolidate credit cards, and lower your payments by an average of $700 a month. And the Siegel Lending Team knows that character means more than a credit score. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporations, NMLS 21037, and DRE number 018694452. You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's...
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Mortgage Minute today being brought to you by rsrloans.com, rsrloans.com, and every day at this time, OBMMI They provide the most comprehensive, accurate, timely, and interactive analysis of pricing ever conducted in the mortgage industry. Calculated from actual locked rates with consumers across 35% of all mortgage transactions nationwide. They don't tell us points paid, points received, or the APR. They tell us the number you put in your mortgage calculator to determine your principal and interest payment. If you don't have a mortgage calculator, shame on you. Because we offer calculators, illustrators for free on Ron Siegel Radio, rsrlinks.com/calculators, rsrlinks.com/calculators. So what did rates do yesterday? Mixed bag. Conventional 30-year fix, 6.603 up. Jumbo 30-year fix, 6.616 up. FHA 30-year fix, 6.394 up. VA 30-year fix, 6.218. That was down. And USDA 30-year fix, 6.321. That was down. If you want our thoughts about the market, every Friday we put out our weekend update, rsrlinks.com/WUC, rsrlinks.com/WUC. That's our weekend update. And we put that one out. We put it out for industry folk, and we also put it out for the consumers. So the WUC at the end tells us it's for consumers. Let's see what the markets are doing today. So we've got the S&P 500 up 13 points. 10-year Treasury is up 2 basis points, 4.65. And we are looking at, I wonder why this, at the 10-year Treasury, the mortgage bond. That one is up 11 basis points. I'm sorry. Holy cow. I'm still thinking about those beers that Josh was telling me about. So the mortgage bond is down 11 basis points. The 10-year Treasury is up 2 basis points. Remember, when that mortgage bond goes down, that means rates are going up. That is as of our recording at, 9 o'clock here in the morning, on the 9:15 in the morning on the West Coast. So where the market ends, nobody knows. But what's driving all of this? That's why you tune in to Ron Siegel Radio. Oil prices continue higher. WTI moving around 87 a barrel, 86.24 right now, up $1.90. Closure of the Strait of Hormuz is not helping things, along with escalation with Iran. And the outlook for peace talks, not great. Marco Rubio said that he does not believe Iran is serious about peace talks. Now, I'm going to share with you. I shared this with some folks yesterday, and I made this comment, and I don't know whether the president listens. You know, we just have a little show here in Southern California. So, you know, I'm just a simple guy. So Iran says they want to talk. The president says that Iran says they want to talk. Iran lies every time. Now, I don't know whether we're telling the truth or not. Doesn't matter. But here's the thing. Set conditions on talks. Seems simple. If Iran wants to talk, okay, open up the strait and then we talk. You don't open up the strait, you're not serious about talks. Doesn't that seem simple it seems like that would just be a logical, easy, thing. Most people, you say, I want to have a prep meeting with the president. You get all these conditions of how you meet with the president, what you have to do to get there. Well, why don't they set the same thing with Iran? I don't know. So there are other oil flow disruptions besides the Strait of Hormuz that are causing oil prices to rise as well. Houthis in the Red Sea are causing Saudi tankers to take U-turns. There are also attacks on the Caspian pipeline in Kazakhstan, which is about 1% of the world's oil flow. Announcements of additional tariffs yesterday also caused bonds to sell off on new inflationary fears. The U.S. announced 50% tariffs on 500 Canadian goods, as well as sweeping tariffs on the majority of imports that could take effect over the next week or two. Those these will by and large replace the existing 10% tariffs. So they should not cause additional inflationary pressure, and year-over-year inflation should still come down after a year of those price increases have been counted. But what we'll not get is this deflationary pressure that would be if the tariffs were to fall off and not be replaced. Tough environment for rates right now. That's why strategy beats rate always. And you have to always be just watching for the strategies. You know, it doesn't matter if you're getting divorced, does the rate matter? If you're trying to make sure your kids are in the school that they want, does the rate matter? If you're tired of living in your parents' basement, does the rate matter? If you're trying to get out of debt, does the rate matter? It's all about your strategy. So give us a call. Let's chat about what your strategies are, and let's figure out what makes sense for you. Now, maybe you've got the right strategy. I don't know. Until we talk about it, I just don't know. But, you know, we can put together a strategy call for you. That is the Mortgage Minute, brought to you by rsrloans.com, rsrloans.com. Your Credit Matters segment today being brought to you by rsrlinks.com/debt-free, rsrlinks.com/debt-free. This week, CNBC reported that 59% of Americans now say they are living paycheck to paycheck. Think about that. 6 out of every 10 people you pass at the grocery store have nothing left when the month ends. And here's the part that should get your attention. A lot of them make good money. I am Ron Siegel, Certified Liability Advisor, helping families build wealth through strategic debt management. The numbers come from the new CNBC and SurveyMonkey Money Survey, and they paint a picture I see every single week in my Zoom meetings. Half the country says they are more stressed about money than they were a year ago. Only 5% describe themselves as thriving. 5%. Everyone else is managing, struggling, or falling behind. And it gets more specific. For millennials, the paycheck to paycheck number is not 59%. It is 74%. 3 out of 4. These are people in their prime earning years, raising kids, and they cannot get a dollar ahead. So what is eating the paycheck? The survey asked. 41% said not enough savings. 28% said credit card debt. And about a quarter pointed at auto insurance and medical bills. Groceries and gas top the list of things that feel less affordable than a year ago. But here are the two numbers that stopped me cold. 39% of Americans put groceries or household essentials on a credit card, and 40% dipped into savings just to cover daily expenses. When you're borrowing to buy eggs, that is not a spending problem. That is a structure problem. Let me tell you about a couple I met with recently. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. I'll call them Mark and Denise. Combined income a little over $150,000. Nice home, 2 cars, good careers. And every month, nothing left. They came to me embarrassed, convinced they were bad with money. You know what I found? They were not bad with money. They had a car loan, 2 student loans, 4 credit cards, and a mortgage, all pulling in different directions, all structured by accident instead of on purpose. Nobody had ever looked at the whole picture. That is the trap. Everyone obsesses over one rate on one loan, but your household does not pay one rate. It pays a blended rate across everything you owe. That's your household blended interest rate, and it matters more than any single rate because strategy beats rate always. So what does this mean for you? If you recognize yourself anywhere in those survey numbers, here are 3 moves. First, get your financial house in order. Not someday, now. I put together a resource that walks you through the key steps, and it costs you nothing. Go to rsrlinks.com/keysteps. That's rsrlinks.com/keysteps. Second, if you're one of the 39% putting essentials on plastic, understand this. When you pay your credit card, matters almost as much as how much you pay. Most people time their payments in a way that hurts their credit score and costs them money, and they have no idea. I explain the whole strategy at rsrccpayment.com. rsrccpayment.com. And third, this is the big one. What if I told you that your debt, all of it, the mortgage, the student loans, the cards, the car, could have an actual payoff date, not a wish, a date on a calendar? We use a tool called Debt Done Date. It takes every debt you carry and runs it through 82 different types of analysis. The debt snowball, the avalanche, refinancing, equity strategies, combinations you would never think of to try, and it finds the path that gets everything paid off by a specific date without wrecking your liquidity along the way. Because remember, I never want you cash poor. Safety, liquidity, and return in that order. Mark and Denise ran their numbers through it. The plan it found gets them completely debt-free years sooner than the path they were on without earning $1 more. Same income, different structure. That's the whole point. You see it for yourself at rsrlinks.com/DDD. That's rsrlinks.com/DDD. D is in debt. D is in done. D is in date. rsrlinks.com/DDD. The paycheck to paycheck cycle does not usually end with a raise. It ends with a plan. 59% of the country is waiting for the economy to fix this for them. You don't have to wait. I am Ron Siegel, your certified liability advisor, helping families build wealth through strategic debt management. Thanks for listening to the Your Credit Matters segment, brought to you by rsrlinks.com/debt-free, rsrlinks.com/debt-free. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, foreclosures are down 83% from 2008. The crash you're waiting for is not coming. Most families tour colleges wrong and pay for it later. Here's how to do it right. All that and more. Reach me anytime. Off-air number 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you missed any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Confused about the home buying process? Or curious how much you really know about buying a home? Take the First Home IQ quiz to test your understanding of buying a home. Created by the nonprofit First Home IQ, this 5-minute quiz will give you a score, what you missed, and why. Take the quiz in 5 minutes at rsrlinks.com/FHIQ and find out what you need to know about buying your first home. That's rsrlinks.com/FHIQ.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions, as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Real-time real estate segment today being brought to you by rsrmoney.com, rsrmoney.com. Somebody at a barbecue this weekend is going to tell you the housing market is about to collapse, just like 2008. They will say it with total confidence, and they will be off by about 1.1 million foreclosures. I am Ron Siegel, Certified Liability Advisor, helping families build wealth through strategic debt management. Let's talk about the number everybody feels, but almost nobody actually looks at. Adam, one of the largest property data firms in the country, tracks every foreclosure filing in America. In the first half of 2008, there were 1,332,991 foreclosure filings, 1.3 million households in 6 months. First half of 2026, 227,548. That's an 83% drop. Today's foreclosure activity is not close to 2008. It is not in the same zip code as 2008. It is not even in the same state. So why does everybody still feel like a crash is coming? Because 2008 left a scar. If you lived through it, you remember the for sale signs multiplying down the street. You remember neighbors mailing their keys back to the bank. That kind of memory does not fade. So every time home prices wobble, the brain goes right back there. But here's the question worth asking. What actually caused all those foreclosures in 2008? It was not just falling prices. It was how people got into their homes in the first place. Back then, the industry was handing out loans I can only describe as creative fiction. No income, no justification, no documentation. Adjustable rates had exploded 2 years in. There was even a nickname in the business, ninja loans. No income, no job, no assets. Now, I've been in the mortgage industry for 4 decades, over 4 decades. I watched it happen in real time and I watched it end badly. So when prices dipped, millions of homeowners had no equity and payments they could never sustain. They were underwater on day one. Walking away was the only math that worked. Now compare that to today. Every loan since the reforms is fully documented. Income verified, assets verified, payments stress tested before approval. The borrower of 2026 would barely recognize the borrower of 2006. And here's the biggest difference of all, equity. American homeowners today are sitting on trillions of dollars in home equity. The typical homeowner with a mortgage has hundreds of thousands of dollars of value above what they owe. So what does that mean for you? It means the safety net works completely differently now. Think of it this way. In 2008, a homeowner who hit a rough patch, a job loss, a divorce, a medical bill, had a house worth less than the loan. The bank was the only exit. Today, that same family and that same rough patch has options. They can sell, pay off the loan, and walk away with a check instead of a foreclosure. That's why the filings collapsed. Hardship still happens. Foreclosures mostly does not, because equity absorbs the blow. Here's an example from my world. A couple came to me on a Zoom consultation. He'd been laid off. They were 3 months from real trouble, and they assumed they were headed for foreclosure because that is the movie they remembered from 2008. We pulled up the numbers. They had over $340,000 in equity. They were not broke. They were illiquid. Those are two very different problems, and only one of them is a crisis. And that brings me to the part of this story most people miss. Equity protected them, but equity did not help them until they could reach out. You cannot pay a grocery bill with a bedroom wall. Home equity is a wonderful protection, but it is trapped wealth until you have a strategy for it. This is why I keep telling you strategy beats rate always. The families who got hurt in 2008 did not get hurt because of a quarter point on their rate. They got hurt because their whole structure was fragile. No liquidity, no cushion, no plan B. The families who are positioned well in 2026 are not the ones bragging about the rate they locked. They are the ones who know exactly what their equity is, what it is doing, and how fast they could reach it if life threw a punch. So here's my challenge for you this week. Answer 2 questions. 1, how much equity do you actually have right now? Not a guess, the real number. You can get it at rsrlinks.com/homewealth. rsrlinks.com/homewealth. 2, if you needed part of it in 30 days, do you know how you would access it? If you cannot answer both, I built something for you. Go to rsrlinks.com/homewealth. That's rsrlinks.com/homewealth. It'll help you understand what your equity really is, what it protects you from, and what it could be doing for your family instead of just sitting there. It takes a few minutes and it might change how you see the biggest asset you own. The headlines will keep trying to sell you 2008 reruns. The data says we are living in a different market with different loans, different borrowers, and a record cushion of equity underneath it all. Fear makes great television. It makes terrible financial decisions. I am Ron Siegel, your certified liability advisor, helping families build wealth through strategic debt management. Thanks for listening to the Real-Time Real Estate segment brought to you by rsrmoney.com, rsrmoney.com. Borrow Smart segment today being brought to you by rsrwealthbuilder.com, rsrwealthbuilder.com. Ask a parent who applied to college 30 years ago about campus tours, and most will shrug. Back then, you applied to 1 or 2 schools close to home. Today, families crisscross the country visiting campuses, and it adds up fast. So is the college tour really worth the time and money? In a lot of cases, yes, but only if you do it with a plan. I am Ron Siegel, Certified Liability Advisor, helping families build wealth through strategic debt management. Let me give you the real reasons the tour matters more than it used to. First, campuses feel widely different. A small liberal arts college in the Northeast and a big state flagship in the Midwest are two different worlds. You cannot feel that in a brochure. Second, and this one surprises people, some colleges track what they call demonstrated interest. They notice who shows up. They believe students who visit are more likely to actually enroll if admitted. For those schools, a registered visit can be the difference between a wait list and an acceptance. Not every college does this, so do your homework. But for the ones that do, showing up matters. Now, here's the catch. Touring every school on a long list can cost a small fortune in flights, hotels, and missed work. So what do? You set priorities. Which schools are truly at the top? What do they have in common? Size, location, majors. Is there a similar campus closer to home where your student can get the same feel for less? And if you can't travel, virtual tours count. Admissions overviews, student panels, online walkthroughs. Treat them like the real thing. Come with questions. Send a thank you note. Colleges want to see real engagement in person or on a screen. So what does any of this have to do with a mortgage guy? Everything. Because a college tour is really a preview of one of the largest purchases your family will ever make. We're talking about a 4-year, 6-figure decision. You would not buy a $655,000 house sight unseen. Do not commit 4 years of tuition that way either. And here's the discipline that ties it together. The same planning you use to tour start is the same planning you need to pay for it smart. Set priorities, know your numbers, do not react. This is why I say strategy beats rate. Always. The families who win are not the ones who visited the most campuses. They are the ones who had a plan for the visit and a plan for the bill. Picture a family mapping out spring break. Instead of 6 random campus trips, they pick the 3 schools that matter most. Tour a similar local campus for a 4th and put the money they save toward the real cost ahead. That is a strategy. That's a family treating college like an investment it is. So before the next tour season, get your plan in one place, your priorities, your budget for the trips, and your budget for the years that follow. That is exactly what I offer families through Key Steps, a simple place to track your budget and your next steps so nothing sneaks up on you. Go to rsrlinks.com/keysteps. That's rsrlinks.com/keysteps. Build the plan before you book the flights. I am Ron Siegel, your Certified Liability Advisor, helping families build wealth through strategic debt management. Thanks for listening to the Borrow Smart segment, brought to you by rsrwealthbuilder.com, rsrwealthbuilder.com. You are listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, priced out, a condo or townhome could be your way in. All that and more. Reach me anytime. Off-air number 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube, Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Do you know a homeowner experiencing divorce? Do you know a real estate reference and the divorce decree could cost tens of thousands of dollars? A certified divorce mortgage planning and real estate report could save you thousands of dollars, and it's free from your local certified divorce lending professional. Reach out to Ron today. RonIsMyLender.com. Again, RonIsMyLender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Are you a veteran, own a home, and need money? The Siegel lending team is here to help veterans refinance and get the money they need. The VA 100 lets you borrow up to 100% of your home's value, refinance your mortgages, consolidate credit cards, and lower your payments by an average of $700 a month. And the Siegel lending team knows that character means more than a credit score. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporations, NMLS 21037, and DRE number 018694452.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Are you a veteran, own a home, and need money? The Siegel lending team is here to help veterans refinance and get the money they need. The VA 100 lets you borrow up to 100% of your home's value, refinance your mortgages, consolidate credit cards, and lower your payments by an average of $700 a month. And the Siegel lending team knows that character means more than a credit score. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporations, NMLS 21037, and DRE number 018694452.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's...
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Real-time real estate segment today being brought to you by rsrmoney.com, rsrmoney.com. Priced out? A condo or townhome could be your way in. Today's home prices have a lot of buyers, especially first-time buyers, wondering if there's even anything out there that's in their budget. But owning a home may be within reach, be more within reach than you think. Sometimes it just means considering a different type of home. Condos and townhomes can be a great way to buy without stretching every last dollar. And right now, two things make them worth a serious look. There are more condos and townhomes to choose from. Maybe you feel like there's just nothing out there for you and you've exhausted all your options. But have you considered condos and townhomes? A lot of buyers start by looking for a single-family detached home without even realizing what their search omits from their pool of choices. According to Housing Wire data, there are 233,030 condos and townhomes for sale this June. That's more than any June that's more than any June in at least the past decade, and more than double the number available back in 2022. If you're watching us on ronsiegelradio.tv, any of our socials, or the ABC News and Talk AM 1490, FM 98.1 video feed, you are seeing a chart of the number of condos for sale just hit a 10-year high. That means there are more options out there in this segment of the market, and especially good news for first-time buyers. These types of homes can be a great way to break into the market for less. Just remember, that's the national number. What's available will depend on where you're looking, but generally speaking, more options mean less competition, more time to decide, and more room to negotiate. Price is the other big draw. According to the National Association of Realtors, NAR, the median condo price was $380,000 in June. National number, remember, you can pretty much double it for Southern California. In contrast, the median single-family home price, $446,400. And you can see that on the next graph that we've got for you. $66,000 gap condos versus single-family homes. And again, remember, that's national, so probably double it for California. Big reason why: condos are usually smaller than single-family homes, and smaller homes can come with smaller price tags. And if you don't need all that extra space, that lower entry price could be exactly what gets you through the door. Condo or townhome, how they're different. For buyers who feel priced out of the market, a condo or townhome could be a way in, but there are some things to know. Before you start checking out homes, it's good to understand how these two compare to each other and to a single-family home. With a single-family detached home, you own the house and the land it sits on. And you don't share any walls with neighbors. That means the most space and privacy. But it usually comes with a higher tag and all the maintenance is on you. With a townhome, you own the building and the lot it sits on. They're usually multi-level, so you get more space and you share 2 walls at most. You'll also have more say over how your home looks and how repairs get done, but more of that upkeep falls on you. With a condo, you own just the inside of your unit and may have access to community features like a pool or gym. The building and shared space belong to everyone who lives there, which means you have less maintenance responsibilities. But you'll also likely have more neighbors around you, less control over building decisions, and higher HOA fees since the HOA handles the exterior and common areas. Bottom line, a condo or townhome could be your path to owning a home without blowing your budget. Give me a call to see what's available for sale in our area and figure out which type of home fits your lifestyle and your bottom line. That is the Real-Time Real Estate segment brought to you by rsrmoney.com, rsrmoney.com. And as always, I ask, set that first radio preset button to come back here and join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house and your bank account. Thanks to all of our sponsors. Big thanks to Josh and Sean who are engineering us today. And of course, a special thanks to you for spending a little bit of your day with us. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you have any questions or to meet any of our guests, call me anytime, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. And remember, make a lot of money so you can help a lot of people and have a lot of fun. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.